वेलकम टू माई प्लेलिस्ट ऑफ माइक्रोबायोलॉजी जो हम कर रहे हैं फ्रॉम लेविनसन जो कि मैग्रो-हिल लेंज वालों की पब्लिकेशन है. टुडेज वीडियो इज गोइंग टू बी अबाउट चैप्टर नंबर 6 ऑफ द बुक विच इज़ अबाउट द ह्यूमन माइक्रोबायोम. देखिए बात यह है कि योर बॉडी also contains a lot of microorganisms in different places, gut being the obvious example. I mean, some parts of your body are absolutely sterile, जहाँ कोई microorganism नहीं है, but at certain parts of your body you have some organisms sitting there for your whole life basically. So the human microbiome is the term which is used to describe the distinct microbial communities. See, you have microbial communities in your body that inhabit different host environments on the body's skin and mucosal surfaces. So these are the two areas which you have to remember are usually containing the microorganisms, skin and the mucosal surfaces. Now mucosal surfaces, particular example you have to remember is the gut. Historically, microbiologists referred to microbial populations routinely found on and in the body as normal flora of the body. The term microbiome also encompasses, now this is now the latest word, microbiome. पहले इसके लिए normal flora use करते थे. Flora का मतलब ये है कि आपकी बॉडी में जो microorganism normally हैं, which are not causing disease to you, they were referred to as normal flora of the body. But now this is the better word, microbiome. Okay? Now, it encompasses all of the genetic material associated with these normal constituents. As you will read below, the genetic capabilities of the given normal flora organisms can have profound impact on the interaction that the microbe has with the host. So, the point is कि ये जो microbiome है आपकी बॉडी में, इसके बारे में जानना इसलिए ज़रूरी है because they have impact on your health, they have impact on how you interact with other dangerous pathogens. So, the establishment of human microbiome is initiated immediately after birth. सो बर्थ के फ़ौरन बाद आपकी बॉडी में माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स कॉलोनाइज होना शुरू हो जाते हैं एंड दैट्स पार्ट ऑफ द नॉर्मल ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट. ओके, until relatively recently our understanding of the organisms that compose the human microbiome relied on cultivation to isolate organisms in pure culture. तो करते ये थे कि ह्यूमन बॉडी में से फलानी जगह से किसी एक पॉइंट से थोड़ा सा स्वैब लिया, उसको ग्रो करके देखा कौन सा ऑर्गेनिज्म है. सो इस तरह से हम आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे थे कि कौन कौन सा ऑर्गेनिजम्स हमारी बॉडी में है. This approach is limited in its usefulness for several reasons. First, the vast majority of microbes associated with humans cannot be cultivated ex vivo. यानी बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनिज्म आपकी बॉडी में ऐसे हैं जिनको आप ग्रो ही नहीं कर सकते डिश के अंदर. एंड फाइनली, ग्रोइंग एन ऑर्गेनिज्म आउट ऑफ इट्स एनवायरनमेंट इज प्योर कल्चर गिव्स लिटिल, यू नो. Now, this is not an easy task कि आप किसी ऑर्गेनिज्म को अपने एनवायरनमेंट से निकालें और बाहर उसको आर्टिफिशियली ग्रो करें. सो दैट्स नाउ no more used as a technique to identify human microbiome. Rather, we have now advanced techniques. So, development of sophisticated molecular techniques now in the past decade particularly. PCR है, sequencing है. Now, we can identify organisms in the human body by latest technologies. Okay? Current estimates suggest that there is an approximately equal number of prokaryotic cells on and in the human body as there are human cells. Now, this statement of Levinson just catches my heartbeat. I mean, look at this. It means you have trillions of prokaryotes in your body because you have trillions of human cells. So that's a very important point, okay? Of which most are gut associated. ज़्यादातर gut में है, मैंने start में आपको बताया था. This remarkable statistic is even more notable considering that average adult gut is home to about 1,000 bacterial species. मैं colonies की बात नहीं कर रहा, different types of bacteria. 1,000 different types of bacteria are, you know, estimated to be present only in the gut, each of which contains about 2,000 genes, cataloging a total of about 2 million gut-associated microbial genes. There you go. So only in the gut, you have about 2 million 20 lakh gut-associated microbial genes. This is 100 times more than the 20,000 genes that are encoded in the entire human genome. Wow! तो आपके पास total आपकी अपनी जो human genes हैं, what is the number? The quantum is about 20,000 and here you get is about 2 million microbial genes in the gut. Now, variation in the abundance and complexity of the microbiome constituent is observed within an individual over time and also between the individuals. So, gut microbiome या बॉडी का पूरा microbiome in person A may be different from person B. So that's something normal, okay? And also even the person A, when the person A was young and then start eating a lot of things which he or she was not eating earlier on, now the microbiome changes. So microbiome changes within the person and from person to person. Okay. However, longitudinal characterization of human gut microbiome has shown that within the first few years of life, our microbial communities become relatively stable and unique to each individuals. A very important point ना, हर कोई अपना अपना एक कॉलोनी बना लेता है, तो हम सबका अपना अपना माइक्रोबायोम है, एक छोटी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स की दुनिया है हम सबके अंदर. Once established, members of the microbiome are considered permanent residents. They have the permanent resident status in the body. Okay, these such as skin में होंगे, oropharynx में, colon, vagina, gut की बात तो मैंने सबसे पहले कर रखी है. These microbiomes are often offered as common cells, which are organisms that derive benefit from another host, but do not damage the host. So ये हमें को नुकसान नहीं दे रहे. इनफैक्ट कई जगहों पे हमको फायदा दे रहे होते हैं. अभी हम पढ़ेंगे उनके बारे में. विटामिन के प्रोडक्शन है या मेंटेनिंग normal homeostasis in the body. They are actually playing an important role in the body. So these permanent residents, number one, they are too many. Number two, they are there for a purpose. Number three, they are not giving usually harm to us. Okay, now that's a very important table because it talks about the locations and the organisms which are normally present in human beings. Okay, so colon, throat and vagina. Bacteroids species are normally present. Candida can also be present in mouth, colon, vagina, not causing you any harm unless you are immunocompromised. So if your immunity goes down, Candida may grow up. Clostridium in the colon, Corynebacterium species, diphtheroids, particularly nasopharynx. So that's a very important table, and you see at a lot of places there is colon, 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 colon. So colon is host to a lot of microorganisms. Then nasopharynx, then mouth, colon, vagina. You see the openings of the body. So you have nasal openings. यहाँ बहुत सारे organisms हैं. Then you have vagina is an opening. Mouth is an opening. So at the openings you have these organisms present. Okay. We also have staph aureus in the nose and skin. Staph epidermidis in the skin, nose, mouth. So that's an important. But spend some time with the table. Try to ask yourself if you can remember what sort of organisms are present in what sort of location. So that's an important memorization chart which you must remember. ये क्या बन गया, मैं स्टार बनाना चाह रहा था. So that's an important chart जो नॉर्मल फ्लोरा का जब भी जिक्र आएगा आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि हमारी बॉडी में ये ऑर्गेनिजम्स यूजुअली प्रेजेंट होते हैं. ठीक है. नाउ मेडिकली इंपॉर्टेंट मेंबर्स, स्किन, इंपॉर्टेंट ऑर्गेनिज्म स्किन में जो आपने लाजमी याद रखना ही है वो स्टैफ एपिडर्माइडस है, एंड देयर आर अदर्स एज वेल. लेकिन स्किन में क्योंकि अगर इम्यूनिटी डाउन होती है या इफ दीज ऑर्गेनिजम्स गेट म्यूटेटेड, that is the one which will cause pathology in the skin. So these are less important. Okay. Now they have also defined the less important and more important organisms. So organisms that are medically significant or present in large numbers. So either they will cause a disease or present in large numbers are labeled as important organisms. And two, they are less medically significant or present in smaller numbers. Okay. So these are the less important. And now you know what do we mean by less important and more important. Nose में अब जैसे ये जो टेबल था ना, इसने तो आपको ये बताया लेट्स गो टू स्किन. वेयर इज स्किन? सो स्किन में इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट सो मेनी डिफरेंट थिंग्स. यू सी स्किन में सुडोमोनास भी मौजूद है, स्किन में स्टैफ ऑरियस भी मौजूद है. लेकिन स्किन में नंबर वन ऑर्गेनिज्म पैथोलॉजी वाइज, मेडिकल सिग्निफिकेंस वाइज कौन सा है? स्टैफ एपिडेमिडस. बिल्कुल ऐसे ही नोज में मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट ऑर्गेनिज्म परहैप्स स्टैफ ऑरियस. ओके. माउथ में स्ट्रैप्ड विरिडियंस, डेंटल प्लेक्स. सो another important table for you to remember, guys, because then the diseases will be associated. So if we talk about throat, you must on your list of differential diagnosis, number one पे आपके ये organism होना चाहिए. Okay, strep viridans. So colon में these bacteroids and E. coli, ये they are most abundant, they are most medically significant, right? Now members of the microbiota vary in both abundance and type of from one body site to the another. Obviously अभी हमने देखा ना skin में अलग organisms है. Now by the way, this is another word for the microbiome, microbiota. Okay, internal organs are sterile, such as the central nervous system, blood, bronchi, alveoli, spleen. So these are sterile stuff. Okay, they may, however, experience occasional transient microbial intrusions, but usually they are sterile. Okay. A distinction should be made between the established members of the microbiome and the carrier state. देखो ये बहुत important point है. Carrier is the word which implies that an individual has become colonized with the potential pathogen and therefore can be source of infection to the others. It is most frequently used in reference to the person with an asymptomatic infection or to someone who has recovered from a disease but continues to carry the organism and can serve as a reservoir for infection. So here is the person, और इस बंदे का अपना जो normal bacterial microbiome या microorganisms हैं, all those microorganisms are usually the microbiota. लेकिन अगर इसको कोई पैथोजेनिक इन्फेक्शन हो गया, अब ये पैथोजेनिक इन्फेक्शन इसकी बॉडी में है, हो सकता है इसको सिम्टम्स हो या ना हो, जैसे कोविड में होता है. कोविड में कि many of the times the person has the virus, but the person is asymptomatic, but still the person is carrier because the person can spread the virus to others. If a person has a pathogenic organism and the organism can be spread by the person, this person is then labeled as a carrier. Okay? जबकि जो microbiome है आपकी बॉडी का, वो infection नहीं फैला रहा. It's non-pathogenic in usual circumstances. So you have to be very, very careful कि microbiome अलग terminology है और being a carrier of some pathogen is a different terminology. Okay? It is important to be aware that members of normal flora can cause disease when they gain access to other body sites. So for example, E. coli and bacteroids, they are both normal flora organism of the GI tract, colon में है, which cause urinary tract infection and peritonitis. So colon में they are not usually a trouble, but if they travel to some other location, they may be a trouble because वहाँ environment different है. Okay? The human microbiome can offer resistance to pathogen colonization. The non-pathogenic resident bacteria, जो कि आपका microbiome है, they are good, they are in big number, they are non-pathogenic. और ये करते क्या हैं? They occupy the attachment sites on the mucosa that can interfere the colonization of the pathogen. This is beautiful. अब suppose आपके ये cells हैं और इन cells पे ये pathogen associated sites हैं. So अगर कोई dangerous पैथोजन यहाँ आता और ये साइट एम्प्टी होती तो वो इसको अटैच होता और पैथोजेनेसिस स्टार्ट हो जाती. अब करते क्या है, ये जो प्यारे प्यारे से हमारे रेजिडेंट ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं माइक्रोबायोम, ये इन साइट्स को कवर करके रखते हैं. सो दी साइट्स आर कवर्ड. सो सिंस द पैथोजन वाली साइट्स आर कवर्ड, जब पैथोजन आता है तो उसको वो साइट्स एम्प्टी मिलती ही नहीं है. द पैथोजन कैन नॉट सेट ऑन द साइड एंड देयर इज नो पैथोजेनेसिस. सो सी दीज ऑर्गेनिजम्स आर एक्चुअली सेविंग यू फ्रॉम द इन्फेक्शन. Okay, the ability of members of the normal flora to limit the growth of the pathogen is called colonization resistance. So actually ये अच्छे मासूम वाले माइक्रोबायोम हमारी बॉडी में कॉलोनाइज होते हैं ताकि ये खतरनाक वाले ऑर्गेनिजम्स कॉलोनाइज न हो सकें. Okay, and if you kill them, if you kill the microbiome, then they will colonize. इसकी particular examples हैं. So for example, if you use antibiotics and that can kill the normal flora of the colon, this can lead to exacerbation of Clostridium difficile. और इससे एक particular disease होती है which is called pseudomembranous colitis. So these little green things are the protection by the non-pathogenic resident microbiota of your body. They're good for you because they're preventing you from the pathogens. Okay? Now, microbiome of the GI tract. In normal fasting people, the stomach contains few organisms, primarily because इसका pH बहुत कम है, acidic environment है, organisms dead होते हैं. The small intestine usually contains small numbers of these organisms. ज़्यादातर होते हैं फिर large intestine में. Okay, the largest and the most complex microbial population in the human resides in the colon. Roughly 20% of the feces consist of primarily anaerobic bacteria at approximately 10 to the power 11 organisms per gram. So that's a huge load. Okay, in most people within the colon, the two most abundant phyla of bacteria are Firmicutes and it is followed by Bacteroidetes species. So now the first one, the Firmicutes, are the gram-positive rods and members of genera Clostridium and Faecalibacterium. So these are difficult names, but you have to remember them because these are the most common in the colon. Okay. Now Bacteroidetes are gram-negative. So colon में हमारे पास we also have gram-positive organism as well as colonization of gram-negative organism. Okay, जिसमें bacteroids हैं, Prevotella है. These are usually present in your colon. A species of proteobacteria, gram-negative rods such as Escherichia, Salmonella, Actinobacter, which are gram-positive by the way, they make up the bulk of the remainder. So that is again I would mark as an important paragraph because listen why. See, आपकी पूरी बॉडी में सबसे ज़्यादा microorganisms किधर हैं? गट में. और गट में सबसे ज़्यादा माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म किधर हैं? कॉलोन में. तो कॉलोन के माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स याद रखना बनता है. Okay, so the major bacteria found in the colon are bacteria, जो भी सारे हमने नाम लिए, they are all tabulated here. Okay, some of them are important pathogen. Pathogen not for you under normal circumstances, but they can cause disease. They have the potential, such as coliforms, such as bacteroids, okay, such as enterococci, such as Clostridium. They can, given an opportunity, they can cause the disease. Okay, usually they don't. Colonization of neonatal gut begins immediately after birth. So the baby is born with mostly a gut which is without organisms. But then colonization immediately begins after the birth, predominated by microbes from the mother. So baby feeding और ये सब चीज़ें जब start होती हैं तो baby के gut में एक अपने microorganism की दुनिया बनना शुरू हो जाती है. The infant gut microbiota is low in diversity, fluctuating in response to diet. कभी दूध पी रहा है, कभी कुछ खा रहा है, कभी कुछ खा रहा है, कभी पानी बगैर उबला हुआ दे दिया, दो sort of thing. तो पूरा gut microbiota चेंज होता है बेबी में. And once the solid food is introduced, weaning जब start होती है, the types and quantities of the complex carbohydrates and dietary fibers impact the diversity. Now it becomes very diverse, or adult looking microbiota develop होता है by the age of 3 usually. Okay. Now, there is mounting evidence that the microbiome composition plays an important role in several disease states, such as weight control, obesity, inflammatory disorders, inflammatory bowel diseases, Crohn's disease, ulcerative. The effect on obesity is revealed by the studies involving the transfer of fecal bacteria between the strains of inbred mice. So, these are all done the experimentation. The point is that these microbiota residing in your body, they are not there for not doing any job. So they're not there without any purpose. They have a purpose, and they have been reportedly known for playing major role in prevention or causing various diseases. Okay. Inflammatory bowel disease, for example, is characterized by dysbiosis in the microbiome. So microbiome ki alteration can lead to a lot of disorders. Okay. The gut microbiome provides instructions to developing immune system in the intestinal tract. That's an important point. So not only that they are very important for you in preventing a lot of diseases, they stop the pathogen attachment, they also train your immune system. Research in the germ-free animal model reveals that the gut microbiota plays a critical immunomodulatory role. Okay, so this has been proven as well. And the gut-associated lymphoid tissue is being developed upon the guidance given by the microbiome. So they actually help the Th1, 2, and 17 helper cells in shaping their immune responses. Very important point. The gut microbiome contributes to nutrition and synthesis of several vitamins. Particularly, you have to remember a few vitamins. So the gut bacteria aid digestion by breakdown otherwise indigestible plant fibers into short chain fatty acids. So जिनको आप वैसे नहीं digest कर सकते, ये help करते हैं. And particularly propionate and butyrate, they can also synthesize a variety of micronutrients, including several of the vitamin B and vitamin K. Must remember, if you don't have these organisms, these vitamins are screwed in your body, and they also have an important and major impact on absorption of some very important factors such as iron. So मैं आपको ये बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि gut microorganisms आपके लिए कितने ज़रूरी हैं. The gut microbiome plays an important role in metabolism of some drugs as well, particularly tacrolimus, lovastatin. So see, they are helping you. The gut microbiome may play an important role in mental health, which is what is sometimes referred as gut-brain axis. So if your gut is happy, your brain is happy, sort of thing. Okay, so well, इसकी exact pathogenesis पता नहीं है in associations की, but they have been reported. Okay. Now, so gut का microbiome कितना ज़रूरी है आपने देख लिया. Now let's talk about the microbiome of the skin. It is obviously less complex as compared to the gut. The predominant organism is Staph epidermidis. If you remember the table above, number 1 पे यही था. Okay, and skin में this is non-pathogenic but can cause disease when it reaches certain sites such as artificial heart valves and prosthetic joints. So surgery की किसी ने prosthetic joints लगाए, उनमें ये disease cause कर सकता है. Okay, it is found on the skin much more frequently than its pathogenic relative, which is Staph aureus. So this is pathogenic, this is non-pathogenic for skin under normal circumstances. There are about 10 to the power 3 and 10 to the power 4 organisms per cm of skin. Most of them are located superficially in the stratum corneum. Okay. Anaerobic organisms such as Propionibacterium and Peptococcus are situated in the deeper follicles, and they are actually they grow well when there is low oxygen tension. Okay, and that is involved in development of acne. This particular Propionibacterium is associated with acne formation. Okay, the yeast Candida albicans is also a member of the normal flora on the skin. It can enter a person's bloodstream when needles pierce the skin. So you are actually puncturing the skin and it can enter into the blood. Okay? And that is true for any other organism which is residing on the skin. So imagine this is the skin of a person. You pierce it, the organisms can go inside. Okay? And God forbid if the person has artificial heart valve, it's going to go attach there and cause problems in the heart of the person. Okay? Respiratory tract. Microbiome of the nose, throat, mouth contains wide spectrum of organisms, but lower bronchi and alveoli very, very few. The nose is colonized by a variety of strep and staph species, and some people are long-term carriers of a very important pathogen called Staph aureus. Occasional outbreaks of the disease by Staph aureus, particularly in the newborn, can be traced to nasal, skin, and perianal carriage to the healthy person. So there is a transfer some sort. आपने नाक में उंगली डाली, उसके बाद खाने में उंगली डाली, बच्चे को हाथ लगा दिया, बच्चे ने मुंह में ले लिया वो organism, that sort of thing. Okay, cross contamination. The throat contains a mixture of Viridian streptococci, Neisseria species, Staph epidermidis. These non-pathogen occupy attachment sites on the pharyngeal mucosa and inhibit the growth of the pathogens such as Strep pyogenes. So, same concept. The normal residents of your body, the microbiota, they occupy the sites जहाँ पे dangerous organism ने attach होना था. Easy stuff है ना, इसमें तो कोई चीज़ मुश्किल नहीं है. Right. In the mouth, Viridian streptococci, well, sometimes also you call it more commonly as Streptococcus viridians, make up about half of the bacteria that are found on the variety of oral surfaces, including teeth. Plaque that builds up on the enamel of the surface is composed of salivary protein that deposit on the enamel, as well as gelatins, high molecular weight, glucans secreted by these bacteria. So अक्सर लोगों के teeth में ये plaque का complaint होता है, plaque जमा हो जाता है यहाँ पे, फिर उसकी बहरहाल scaling वगैरह कराते हैं. So this microorganism causes an important contribution towards formation of this plaque. Strapped mutants established in the plaque produce a large amount of acid which demineralizes the enamel. So it's very, plaque is dangerous for your teeth, by the way. Okay, therefore you need to get it removed by scaling. And aerobic bacteria such as species of bacteroids and Prevotella, Clostridium, Peptostreptococcus, they're found all in the gingival surfaces. Okay, and this is why they grow in this particular area, because of low oxygen concentration, and they can cause abscess of the jaws, infections if there are unfavorable conditions for the person. Favorable for the bacteria, by the way. Now, then we are left with the microbiome of the genitourinary tract. So your excretory system. Vagina is also a common site for a lot of flora, including lactobacillus species, which are responsible for producing the acid that keeps the pH of the adult vagina very, very low. Lactobacilli appear to prevent the growth of potential pathogen. Same benefit. If lactobacilli is there, the others will not grow. I'm here. How can you come in this particular place? I will not allow you. That sort of story. Since their suppression by antibiotics can lead to overgrowth of, see, antibiotics आपने अच्छी चीज को खत्म कर दिया, तो बुरी चीज बढ़ गई. Okay? The vagina is located close to the anus. This is very true if you know the perineal anatomy, and can be colonized by the members of the fecal flora. So feces. So this is vaginal opening, and then you have anal opening, and the fecal flora can easily go there when you defecate. Okay, for example, women who are prone to recurrent urinary tract infection harbor E. coli infection coming perhaps from the gut, right? Vagina is colonized by Staph aureus in approximately 5% of the women, like our nasopharynx, which predisposes them to toxic shock syndrome. Toxin is a pathology caused by Staph aureus. Urine in the bladder is sterile. Listen, look at this. I mean, सारी जिंदगी अक्सर लोगों का concept ये होता है कि the urine that we are peeing out is full of microorganisms. But look at this. It's in the bladder. जब ये बन के bladder में पहुंचती है, it's sterile in the healthy person, obviously. But during the passage through the outermost portion of the urethra, it becomes contaminated with Staph epidermidis. So, क्योंकि स्किन की सर्फेसिस पे है ना ये, तो जब यहाँ से ये आ रहा है यूरिन बाहर, दैट इज द टाइम व्हेन इट बिकम्स कॉलोनाइज्ड विद अ फ्यू बैक्टीरिया. अदरवाइज जब ये बनती है तो यूरिन इज एब्सोल्युटली स्टेराइल in healthy persons. Okay, the area around the urethra of women and circumcised men contains secretions which carry Mycobacterium smegmatis, an acid-fast organism just like Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The skin surrounding the genitourinary tract is the site of staph saprophyticus, a cause of UTI, particularly in women. So that's all I think. Yeah, that's all. Now, what you need to remember is what is the definition of normal flora, what are their purpose, what are their benefits, and what are the sites where each of them is located. You know, they are located in the skin, oropharynx, GI tract. The most diverse one is there, and the most abundant colonization is there. Then vagina, your excretory system. Remember the locations of the organisms that you usually harbor and their types. So you should know a few tables जो मैंने highlight किए थे, particularly this particular table. Then there were 3 tables basically, not more than that. So the location, what is the number 1 organism in that particular location, and what are the less important organisms, and what are the different diversity ranges in different parts of your body. So normally you have a lot of microorganisms within your body, and that is collectively known as microbiome. They are big in number, they are non-pathogenic usually to you unless they change places, so, and they are there for your benefit. They give you advantages. Okay, so with this chapter is done. I'll see you in another video of microbiology. My name is Professor Asif Qureshi, and you are watching Dr. Asif Lectures.